Hello, everyone, and welcome to Laugh and Learn, where curiosity leads and laughter lifts. I'm Gerald, here today with Timy Raven from Raven Tarot Meditation and Linda de Gonzalez from Linda de Gonzalez. And today we're exploring the Tree of Life. Think of this as an introduction to the world of mysticism that you can actually use. And Timy is our guide, and he's sharing his current understanding of the Tree of Life, what the Sephirots are, how the paths move between them, and how it relates to his exploration of duality and how that shows up in the pillars. Now, Linda de Gonzalez is here to help us connect the ideas to real life. She didn't know that I was going to say that, but she was already doing it backstage, everybody. You do not need prior knowledge because I don't have any prior knowledge. And Linda might say she doesn't have prior knowledge, but she's got wisdom and intelligence, and that's leaps ahead and bounds ahead of me. So bring an open mind, a good question, and your favorite beverage. And so if you like learning like this, make sure that you subscribe so that you can catch future episodes. Yes. Am I singing your praises too much, Linda?
Yeah, you are. I'm uncomfortable.
Good. Linda de Gonzalez is awesome. Everybody, please follow Linda de Gonzalez. Look, I'm making her.
Stop it.
Say it again.
Stop it.
Here, Linda de Gonzalez totally rocks.
Rockstar princess. Follow and subscribe. Like and subscribe.
Everybody subscribe. Subscribe. That's a bam.
Yeah, I'm close to 800 subscribers now, so
I've got 36. I'm catching up.
Ooh.
36.
It'll be there tomorrow.
Well, I'm one of them.
You are. I know. Yeah. You're right on the top of the list. You were number one, I think.
Really? What's that?
I love it.
You're the number one subscriber.
Huh. Okay.
So I want to thank everybody for joining us. This is a lot of information, and we're curious about this. I'm looking forward to this. This has built up from a series of conversations which are linked in the description that we've had.
Yeah.
One of them was a Tarot the Stash Way about duality in tarot. And then we started to really investigate it in a Laugh and Learn about duality. We brought Linda on board. So it's quite engaging. I do want to say hello to the best chatters, the work lurkers, the best lurkers, and the future lurkers. If you're future lurking, let us know by leaving us a comment so that we have that. As always, this is for entertainment purposes only. Do not make any decisions based upon what we say. Seek professional assistance. Really.
Hey, I'm getting this weird esoteric reputation as a farter.
People are speculating. People all over the world are speculating about your farts.
Yes.
Do they really smell delicious, or is he just bullshitting?
Yeah.
And in order to get the reference to that, go ahead and watch the Back and Forth with Jamie and Gerald, season 3, episode 31, where AI asks the questions. I've also created a short about it because it was funny. Mm-hmm. And the question was, is a short about farts just a toot? And that was from
it's not a chart in the shorts, okay?
Oh my.
You temporarily lose IQ points while you're listening to the short, and then your IQ comes back after the short.
There you go.
Maybe.
Well, okay, so
farts are funny. I mean, farts are inherently funny. That's why I created the fart emoji. I mean, they are inherently funny.
I guarantee cavemen and cavewomen laughed at each other's farts all the time. It's probably like the main entertainment.
Okay. before this just gets stinky and completely out of control, today we're talking about the tree of life. And part of that is we need to understand what is Kabbalah. I am not an expert. None of us are experts. The definition that I have of Kabbalah is it means receiving or tradition in Hebrew. It references, refers to a school of Jewish mysticism focused on understanding the nature of the divine, the universe, the soul, and our relationship to all three. The idea of the Jewish mysticism, the origins emerged between the 12th and 13th century CE in Provence and Spain, with the core text being the Zohar, the mystical commentary on the Torah. And the mystical goals of Kabbalah, or the Kabbalah, is to understand the hidden aspects of God and to restore balance to creation through spiritual practice, which goes beautifully with the duality of that you're sharing with us, Tim. And
balance and duality. Yes. Balance and duality are key to the tree of life.
Yes. Balance and duality are key to life. Okay.
And the tree of life and the Marseilles Tarot and all of human philosophy, I think. You know.
So I had mentioned that it emerged between the 12th and 13th centuries. Linda and Timy had some extra stuff. What was that stuff backstage that we were talking about?
Linda was mentioning that the tree of life goes back before the 12th century. It goes back to the beginning of recorded history.
Yeah.
What specifics do you have, Linda?
I don't have any reference.
Well, we were talking about, the first cities, edifices.
Yeah, there's art, murals that are painted that show what could be interpreted as a tree of life. We, of course, don't know because the archaeologists are just uncovering this elaborate tree that has birds and fish and so on and so forth on it. And this is, I believe, a Sumerian excavation. And since that whole region has been at war for decades, it's very difficult to get any current information out of there. But there is a gold carving from one of the kurgans that was excavated by Jean. Oh shit, I forget. I'm sorry, I've forgotten. It's a woman, it's an archaeologist from California who excavated all of these burial mounds in Kyrgyzstan and so on along the Russian border. And there are many brooches, just gold ornaments that are trees.
Right.
And
it's an analog, it's an analogy.
Yeah. And these are 5,000-6,000 year old artifacts. The whole tree of life thing is really ancient. Really,
it's part of the human experience.
Yeah.
And
go ahead, Tim.
And the philosophies that feed and develop the tree of life are the same philosophies that feed and develop the Marseilles Tarot. And all the tarot that came from that. And I was led to the tree of life kind of from a side pattern, a sideways way, because I was looking at the cards. I was looking at the major arcana and I was looking for dualities in the cards, and I found them in the major arcana. And just learning about the cards, you see stuff about the tree of life. So I started learning about the tree of life. And what the tree of life did for me is it made the knowledge that I was learning about the dualities and the major arcana in the tarot to have more meaning, because they were together. I mean, they mesh together, in my opinion. And that's what I wanted to discuss today. I didn't want to get too deep into the esoteric details of Kabbalah, which is specific to the Jewish religion, the Hebrew culture. It's a scholarly topic that has been studied for centuries in the Jewish culture, and it has a lot of history to it, and it has a lot of specific connections to the Jewish religion itself.
Yes.
But what I want to discuss is more general human philosophical.
And that's great. I'm very good with that. That being said, if anyone is an expert at Kabbalah and would be willing to come on and chat with me about that, I would totally be interested in that. I am not an expert, and so I think this is a really it's what I like to learn about. I'm curious. I'm spiritually curious, and a lot of different things. So that's great. Now, the tree of life is a symbolic diagram in Kabbalah representing the structure of the universe and the human soul. It consists of 10 spheres, sephira, and 22 paths connecting them, forming a descending pattern from divine to earthly realms. So
Yes.
that's there you go. I was able to copy and paste that, everybody. Go me. So
right. I would suggest that we put up that main diagram.
Okay. I want to get caught up in the chat. Chat. Chris, Elemental Cartomancy, Christopher Hughes. He did an absolutely fantastic on. Okay. I'm writing that down. Thank you. There's a lot of really good information out there. Cosmic Orphan has also been doing some videos relating tarot and the Tree of Life.
There's a bunch of them out there. Yeah. Esoterica does one. I have some good ones.
Yes. So, and so thank you, Chris. And the other thing is okay, so that's very helpful. I do see more people coming in, and thank you. So this is great to see everybody. And he also gave you a run for your money for your fan thwarping. Christopher Hughes, bring it.
Is that what that's called?
We can have a fan off. We can have a fan off.
I like that word, thwarping.
Thwarping, yes.
I'm an advocate of thwarping.
Okay, so you were saying let's put up
for a moment the main diagram.
Okay,
the main tree.
So are you wanting the new master, or are you wanting the new bottom, or the new top?
Go for the new master diagram.
Please.
Excuse the naming conventions.
There you go. And you can still hear us, everybody. So there you go.
Yeah. So what you're looking at here is the tree of life. The yellow circles in the middle is what you would normally see when you look at a Kabbalah tree of life. And those are the sephiro. Those are the 10 sephiro. In the Jewish tradition, those are the 10 primal words of God. Those are the 10 emanations. Those are the 10 exhortations. And the meanings of each one of those 10 sephiro match the meaning of the 10 dualities in the Marseilles deck. And the meanings match, but the numbers don't. So I'll say that ahead of time. And I decided that it was okay to change the numbers from the Kabbalah numbers to the tarot numbers, because the meanings of the sephiros match the meanings of the dualities. So I just followed the number as it was in the tarot rather than in the Kabbalah, but the meanings of the sephiros match the meanings of the dualities. So do
you want the new bottom or the new top?
Well, let's go back to our faces again for a minute. So, the tree, just to talk about the structure of it, is like we were discussing before. It's an analogy of life. There's the concept of you take a seed and you plant it in the ground and it rains and there's nutrition and it grows into a small sprout, and then it's a sapling, and then it's a big tree. And, that's an analogy for life. and it was used to describe the human experience. And the thing that I found fascinating is that when I decided that these dualities were real and I wanted to do more research on it in the deck, I started looking at the Sephiroth on the Tree of Life, and they were matching. The concepts were matching. Like if we go back to the tree again, the main one.
Yes.
Or actually, go to the bottom. Go to the bottom tree. We'll start at the bottom. So at the bottom, you see number 1 is inward focus. Number 2 is outward focus. 3 is relationships. 4 is assertiveness. 5 is the world of work, all the way at the bottom. 6 is motivation. And 7 is decision making. And each one of these modern labels that I put on match the spirit of the original Sephiroth label. And you can get into the details of that. And I encourage people who are interested to challenge me on that and look at the details and see if I'm right or not. But I think I'm correct in the placements. And for instance, if you look at inward focus, actually, let's go all the way back out again. Can we go to the main tree again?
Yes.
Okay, so over to the left, you have inward flowing work energy and outward flowing work energy. So what do I mean by that? So in a lot of the philosophies in the tarot and in the Tree of Life, you talk about spiritual energy, and manifesting things in the real world requires work energy, right? So in this interpretation, there's 2 kinds. There's inward flowing work energy, which are, thoughts, thinking about internal things. And then there's outward flowing work energy, where you're actually like, driving a car or, walking or mowing the lawn or something. And the fascinating thing about the tree that informed me in a way that the cards in the tarot deck did not, is that the left side of the tree, which I believe is called the pillar of severity, that's, in my interpretation, inward flowing work energy. And that includes the dualities of relationships, motivation, and humility. And then the Sephiroths, the dualities that connect to outward flowing work energy, are assertiveness, decision-making, and insight. And this was a difficult part of the research process for me, because I was having difficulty getting the, we can go back to the faces again. Let's go back to the faces.
Okay.
The difficulty I was having was between spiritual male, spiritual female versus biological male, biological female. And how would I do card readings for the first 2 primal dualities, which seemed to be completely mixed up with the sexuality thing. And it was confusing to me. And, Linda, we were talking, we had that one like Zoom meeting with just you, me, and Gerald and Brenda, and we were talking about relationships. And my original interpretation of that was, physical love versus spiritual love. And you were saying that a more accurate way of putting it would maybe be intimate relationships versus, broad social relationships. And I think that's correct. And that got me thinking about the whole sexuality thing and the first 2 dualities. So what I think, if we go back to the tree, the main, the bottom tree.
You want the bottom?
Yeah. So if you look at the first and the second primal dualities, those are the most primal duality for the human experience. The first one is inward focus. And that is the left-handed energy. That is the energy of relationships, the energy of motivation, and the energy of humility.
It's also the energy of know thyself.
Right, but for this, let me continue. So that's inward focus.
Yeah.
And the manifestation of inward focus for human beings, the Homo sapiens, if you are a biological male, your inward focus is symbolized by the magician. And if you are a biological female, then your inward focus is characterized by the high priestess. And that's the left-hand side of the tree. That's the relationship parts, the motivation parts, and the humility parts. And then outward focus is the second duality, right above inward focus. That is characterized by the Empress and the Emperor. And those are the outward focus Sephiroth's dualities, which are assertiveness, decision-making, and at the top is insight. So your outward focus are those side of the tree. It's that side of the tree. And in our specific case, you know, what I was trying to do is find something that's universal, that's not, doesn't have to be specific to humans, because I personally believe that like cetaceans are intelligent creatures like we are. And, you know, so are other creatures like octopuses. And then maybe there's life outside of our planet that has, you know, different formations and different sexualities. But I think all living creatures that are intelligent have inward flowing work energy and outward flowing work energy, regardless of their sexuality. And I think that's a more accurate foundation base. And then in our case, the cards, if you are biological male, like in the first one, it's the magician, or if you are a biological female, it's the high priestess. And those are the cards that that's the illustrated archetype that you use when you're doing inward flowing work energy, meaning relationship, thoughts about relationships, thoughts about motivation, and thoughts about humility. And so, as I said, this is all speculation, but I think it's based on facts and information. And the fact that it seems to match up so well gives me encouragement that I might be on the right track here. Because now I can do card draws on the first primal duality and the second primal duality, and it all makes sense because it's kind of like a master volume for your either your outward sexuality or your inward sexuality, you see. And a lot of us, like I would say for me personally, I would lean in some times in my life, like when I was younger, I leaned more toward the outward work energy. I was more masculine, you know. I was being very assertive. I was being a decision maker, and I was, you know, gathering information about insight about my life. But then other times in my life, like now, I think I'm exhibiting more of the feminine left-handed sided energy, where I'm more leaning into relationships and motivations for things and humility. What am I and who am I? And it doesn't start with the sexuality. I think it starts with the inward flowing and the outward flowing energy.
Okay.
So let's go back to the faces and talk about it for a little bit.
Okay, because we have a good question here, which is from Chris, Elemental Cartomancy, because part of what is an important thing is we need to get clarity. And so Chris says, when you're saying sexuality, are you talking about sex like male, female, intersex, or are you talking about sexuality, gay, straight, bi, etc.? And so, because what I wrote down the word is perhaps, and this is just Gerald, maybe it's better to say gender identity because so that internal and external focus, that gender gender is the mechanics of it, but gender identity is up here. And then
yes.
It's
and then spiritual, you know.
Yeah, it's spiritual. Okay.
Right.
So is that what you're talking about? Go ahead, Linda.
But see, as I understand it from what a soul is neither male nor female, nor masculine nor feminine. the soul itself is
Hopefully a
non,
balance of the two,
well, not gender specific was what I was going to say,
which
because
is the balance point in between the
yeah,
two. I
yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And we can go from one life to another, switching genders every life if we want to. Some of us are,
Exactly.
some people are more comfortable living male lives, and I can certainly appreciate why that would be. And others prefer the opposite. So I just don't see how that fits in. Can you explain that? Am I missing something really obvious?
Well, we all have the ability to have inward flowing work energy and outward flowing work energy, right? Did that make any sense to you?
Yeah, 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 of course.
And that's not gender specific. We all can do both, and hopefully you can do both equally. I
Yeah.
think that's the divine state, to be perfectly in balance with both.
Yeah.
But it's inward flowing energy and outward flowing energy. But because we're talking about us, that also happens to match one to one with feminine and masculine, right?
And here's what's interesting. There is some really respectful, good conversation in the chat.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. Because so Maru said, from what little I've learned so far, I thought the sexuality idea was just a metaphor for uniting the magician energy with the high priestess energy to produce manifestation.
Wow.
Meaning the cards are designed with that masculine and feminine as a metaphor for the two working together to produce manifestation. Well, I think that's perfectly that's a perfect interpretation, and it matches what I'm saying, I think, because you want to have, with your interior focus, your inward focus, the magician or the high priestess. I mean, you can use the energy of both. But if you happen to be a biological female at the moment or a biological male, then you probably are more of a magician energy if you're the male, or more empress energy is the female. But that's how you manifest your inward flowing energy.
Yeah.
And you need to do both. You can't be just one or the other.
There has to be a balance. Eva J said, I always thought we had both masculine and feminine energy, and our gender is just an expression of that. Very much possible. Hypnicity said we each have male and female attributes. Yes.
Right.
Chris is actually saying, I'm just clarifying language here. I just want to know if your guest is talking about gender or sexual orientation. When I hear sexuality, I think orientation and not necessarily gender. You're right, Chris. And that's why I appreciate the let's pause and take a look and talk about that. So, and yeah. No, I hear you, Chris. I think this is helpful. Oh yeah, scientific fact: males already switch genders in the womb.
Yeah, we all start out as females in the embryonic.
Yep.
So consider this concept. So I'm a believer in reincarnation, and I'm in the moment, in the middle of a lifetime. I'm 61 years old. I'm getting toward the end of my lifetime, and I'm learning things. And I think my memory is going to disappear when my biological body fails, and then I'm reincarnated into another body. But I believe that my root, my eternal intellect, I think it learns things. I improve my spiritual health by my actions in this lifetime, and it carries over to the next lifetime. And I think as I balance myself over these multiple lifetimes, I think as I become more balanced, I think I become more androgynous, and I become less overtly female or overtly male. So here's the concept. So you're reincarnated into a new body, which drives your sexuality, the biological part of it, or the part you're bringing with you, the spiritual part of it? Do you become more male or more female because of your spiritual energy, or do you become more female because of the roll of the dice of the DNA and the biology part? I think maybe the spiritual part drives the biology part in the beginning. I mean, because when we're very young, we're not fully conscious. Our bodies are still growing at a rapid rate, but things are changing. And like you're saying, biological sexuality can change very, very early in the process. Maybe sexuality is driven by our spiritual past.
Well, okay, so let me share what I've seen of a few hundred people's previous lifetimes. People bring things from one life to another. They bring things like music, like art, like the desire to create, the need, this burning need to create something. They bring that forward from one lifetime to the next. If you have skill with plants, if you have skill with animals, you bring that forward. That's a soul quality. So
intuition almost.
Yeah.
Right? You bring it with you from one life to the next, and it becomes an intuitive
Yeah, it
force.
becomes something that you hardly need to learn at all. Like musicians who can pick up any instrument and play with it for half an hour and suddenly compose some wonderful piece of music on it. I mean, that's miraculous as far as I'm concerned. But it's what their soul brought with them, and they're open enough and in tune enough to be able to bring that, to manifest that. Now, knowing that souls are neither male nor female necessarily, I mean, you may, because personalities, right? Like souls have their own characteristics, their own qualities. Some are more active and Aries, shall we say, more Wands energy, and others are more Pisces, more passive, more just because there's millions of us, right? And we're all different. Now, how does that tie in with living in a gendered body? And what kind of influence? See, this to me, this is what you're asking. This is how I'm interpreting your question. What influence do souls have on the body's development? What's it like? I mean, do our souls choose the body going, oh yeah, somebody with severe ADD, I really want to experience life through that lens, or someone who will end up schizophrenic at age 26, or someone who, and that's just a really interesting fundamental question to me about how the universe works and how we fit in there. What kind of influence do our souls have on our body?
That's a good conversation. That's a whole different topic.
We can heal our bodies. Yeah, I know it's a whole different topic, and I apologize, Gerald.
No. I think but see, this is what's
sorry. That's just where I went.
No apology necessary. I think this is why we do these conversations. This is why Gerald has note paper and a pen to be able to go. The next show we'll be talking about can the healing happen and all that stuff. I think that's great.
Because if I can go down this path just a little further, I know that I know because I have seen it. Okay, I don't know because it's written in a book. I know that we choose our life's experiences. We plan our lives. We organize our lives. We spend, I don't know, however long in spirit, when we're in spirit, planning what our lives are going to be. So one part of that is, why don't we all choose like real easy lives? That's one thing. Why do we choose difficulties? Why do we choose bodies that don't work right, or that are not at 100% optimal, now how all this fits into duality, I don't know. I'm sorry. I should just shut up now.
No. We need to capture this for later discussion. Stay tuned.
Talk about that.
Everybody, please like and subscribe to all of our channels, because guess what? there will be additional conversation about that.
Yeah, this is really interesting. The whole concept of duality to me, part of me says that it's smoke and mirrors, that duality doesn't really exist. It's a smoke screen for what's underneath. And part of me says, well, no, of course, don't be silly. Duality exists, night, day, good, evil, male, female. And I can come up with millions of, I'm sure we all can. But there's just a part of me that goes, it's all smoke and mirrors. There's something under it that you're not getting. So look harder, Linda. And so, yeah.
I think there's always something underneath that we don't perceive.
Yeah.
That's the layers, and there's talk about that. And Chris is being funny. Poor Timmy's tree of life has been put in the corner with baby. And part of that is the joke. I still haven't seen that movie.
Really?
I've never seen that movie. So
have you been actively avoiding it or what?
At this point, yes. At this point,
yes. Because it's a thing now. It's a thing.
Yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing.
Oh, okay. All right.
So we've with the and this is really interesting because and we're just at those first 4 of the duality, and part of this is of recently, Timmy, and we've had this conversation, is your understanding of intimacy has evolved because of conversations.
And it led directly to this inward outward interpretation, because Linda was pointing out that sexuality can be a distraction. It can be window dressing, really, when you're looking for the root cause of something. You can look past that. I was thinking physical love is one thing, and then there's the other kind of love. But you can have intimate relationships that are not physical.
Yeah.
And you can have, intimate relationships that are physical, and vice versa. So that was a better way to put it. And then, I was just having the whole duality thing with the tarot deck was feeling really good, and everything was helping me. I was doing self reads with these dualities, like helping me make choices in my life. And then when I started looking into the tree of life, where the left side was the feminine side and the right side was the masculine side, I was thinking, well, does that mean that they are only feminine? And then, the masculine side, like if you're a human being and you're a female, does that mean you can only be interested in relationships, motivation, and humility? Well, obviously that wasn't true. And if you're male, you're only capable of doing decision-making, assertiveness, and insight. And that's not true either, because that's just not the case. Male or female, you can do both of those things.
Yeah.
But it is true that some of us lean way heavily on one side and others lean way heavily on the other side. So when you do card draws and you do things about self-reflection and things that are a challenge in your life, perhaps you have an imbalance in the first primal duality, inward work energy, or you have an imbalance in the second primal duality, which is outward energy. And if you're too much on the masculine side, then you do a card draw on that duality, either outward or inward flowing, and you figure out where the balance is there by doing the card draw. And then the whole magic of card draws happen, and then you start extracting out of your head your actual path of success. So I would like to do some more card reads on the first and second duality. I haven't done too many because my thoughts on it were a little unfocused, but now they're a lot more focused.
Wait, you want to do that now?
Do a card read?
Is that what you're talking about?
I mean, we could. I'm not set up for a card read. Well, maybe you guys could do it.
I think this is one of those things, Timmy. Well, but I'm thinking is let's continue to have this conversation about the tree of life, because what I'm hoping is right now we're getting the roots. let's get the trunk and some branches, because for me, if I only see this bit of it, I am missing an opportunity to make larger connections.
Well, you want to go back to the main tree and we can go over the whole thing?
Yeah, let's do that.
Now that we got a little bit of a orientation of where we are.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you start down near the bottom, number 1, which is the Marseilles primal duality of inward focus. And that's illustrated by the magician and the high priestess. And then the second duality is outward focus, as we've been discussing, which is illustrated by the Empress and the Emperor. And then third is relationships, and that was intimate relationships, that is symbolized by the lovers. And then broad social relationships is represented by the Hierophant. It's number 3. And then you go across to the other side of the tree is assertiveness, the 4th duality. And these pairs are in order in the Marseilles deck. 1 and 2 is the first pair. 3 and 4 is the second pair. 4 and 5, So assertiveness, the 4th one, is physical assertiveness versus intellectual assertiveness. Intellectual is justice and physical is the Chariot. And then the 5th Sephiroth, the 5th duality, is a special one. That's the work duality, all the way at the bottom. Now notice the dualities in the middle: work, inward and outward focus, and spiritual awakening, all the way at the top. That's the pillar of balance. That's the one in the middle. That's the Tree of Life pillar of balance. So the world of work is the world of manifestation. That's the kingdom of, it's in Hebrew, it's kingdom. That's the place where everything happens, where all the manifestation happens, in the world of work. And that duality is illustrated by the hermit for, internal mental work versus the Wheel of Fortune, which is, work outside of your mind. And, also that parallels inward flowing work energy would be the hermit, and outward flowing work energy would be the Wheel of Fortune. So then if you go to the 6th one, which is up at the top and to the left, is motivation. Those are illustrated by strength and the Hanged Man. The Hanged Man is passive motivation, waiting until another day comes and deciding then, or strength is forging ahead. It's deciding to make a decision is what motivation is. You're deciding to make a decision, or you're deciding not to make a decision. And then you go across the tree to the other side, and that's the 7th duality, the 7th Sephiroth, which is decision-making, illustrated by the Death card, which is impulsive decisions, and that's balanced by Temperance, which is, measured decisions. And that's the duality there. You go right above that to Insight, which is number 8. That's illustrated by the Devil card and the Tower card. The Devil card represents self-bondage, self-restraint, also self-discipline. As you get toward the middle of the balance, it's more self-discipline than self-restraint and self-bondage. We all have these bedevilments, these things that we incorporate into our lives that are that are absurd. I was trying to think of examples. Like when I was younger, I was a punk, like during the Ronald Reagan years, and I was like, screw money. I don't need money. I don't care about money. Money is nothing. And I carried that attitude for a long time, and that was a stupid attitude to have. That was a bedevilment. I wasted a lot of my work energy on that stupid bedevilment. So in order to get out of these bad bedevilments, these bad self-restraints, these bad self-bondages, you need an exit. And the exit is the Tower card. The Tower card is the rejection of self-restraint, the rejection of self-discipline. So if you go to the second to last duality, number 9, is humility, illustrated by the Star card and the Moon card. The Star card is who you are, and the Moon card is what you are. And then at the very, very top is Spiritual Awakening, which is illustrated by the Judgment card.
Sure, yeah. That? Yeah.
Yep. Spiritual Awakening is the portal to the next level, which is, if you look underneath Doth, knowledge, the hidden realm, I believe that the World card is Doth, That's the portal. When you go through spiritual awakening to spiritual enlightenment, you're going toward the world card, which is Thoth. So judgment is internal self-reflection, and the sun card is external work with spiritual awakening. You know, like I said, I use the example of Alcoholics Anonymous. I go to AA meetings every week, and that's part of the sun. That's me interacting with my peers and doing spiritual awakening, work, helping others to help myself. So that is a general overview of how the Marseilles dualities fit in with the Sephiro of the Tree of Life.
Okay, I'm going to put us back on the screen because the best chatters are bringing it.
Uh-oh, I haven't even been looking at the chat.
They're bringing it, and thank you, Linda, for capturing this. So let me get caught up. Okay. Yes, because that's save that for later, and I think people have to put too many labels. Yes. Balance is required for everything. Too many calories, gain weight. Too many shoes, shopping addiction. Balance is key everywhere. And it is that balance that you're talking about, Timy, with the duality. And right, there's nothing wrong. There's and I've said this before, there's nothing wrong with the swing because that's part of living. It's how quickly can you get back to center?
Yes.
How quickly can you find, as Irene said, the middle way?
Yes.
And so, and it's like, so then we had a question from Hypnicity, or she said, this looks like an augmented Celtic cross.
It does. It really
does.
It
really does. And Rachel Pollack in 78 Degrees of Wisdom, the seminal book on tarot, does talk a lot about that. And so that's really very
I never considered
important.
that.
Yeah. It's
that's new to me. Then, I didn't think of that.
Yeah. Wonder how it aligns with the chakras.
It does in general, I think. Yeah.
And Chris added, I think there is a standard-ish way to align Sephira with chakras, but I think it works with the tree where Kether is 1 and Chakma is 2, down to Malkuth being 10. Be interesting to see how this tree fits.
My numbering system went opposite of the Kabbalah. The Kabbalah, Kether is 1 at the top. The crown is 1. In mine, the crown is 10. Is the spiritual awakening, the 10th pair.
Well, see, and this is one of those things. This is why we're having this conversation. This is how I think. This is, I feel very privileged and honored that all of you are watching, that the two of you are on screen with me, because we're having what's called discourse and a dialogue.
Is that legal?
It is legal. It's very legal.
Civil discourse.
Civil discourse.
Where we're not calling each other M or Fers or pedophiles or any kind of stupid nonsense.
No. But, and the other thing
is laughable now. Isn't it gotten to the point where all that shit is absolutely laughable?
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't want to talk about politics.
No.
Please continue.
I think that, what's a beautiful thing is because, we're listening to what you're saying, Timy, and I hope you feel like we're hearing you and we're considering it, because what the beauty is and then we volley something back and you don't immediately dismiss it. You allow it, you entertain it. And
I don't know the answers. I'm just looking for them.
Yeah.
Great. And
I have actively sought out these conversations with this particular community because you guys know what you're talking about with the tarot. Most people don't. And, the conversations that I've had with you, Gerald, and Linda have helped me with this Tree of Life interpretation and the duality interpretation.
Yes.
So,
and I agree. I think Maru is correct. I think the idea is that spirit enters you from your head. that's why it is like that. Because I believe that's
has to do with your crown chakra.
Has to do with your crown chakra, and don't come for me, YouTube. I think the yarmulke, the wearing, is to help us stay connected and to remember that we are connected from to above.
Yeah.
So,
well, I don't know if it's right or wrong, but I learned the same thing.
Yeah. And so, well, we love dialogue too.
Yep.
Yes. You want me to hear?
You always bring it. God bless you. I freaking love you.
I'll even read it so I can make a short of it.
I also want lunch.
If spirit wants
not just a date, lunch and date, you know.
No, I want breakfast, man. I want dinner and then breakfast.
If spirit wants to enter from anywhere else, we're going to need a date first. Timmy's going to need lunch. Linda's going to need breakfast.
I also need a ride.
You need a ride.
I thought that's what we were discussing.
Well, okay.
Snort. That was official.
That was an official snort. Yes.
Count it.
I think, okay, so let's sort of bring this up because we're at about an hour. And this has been very, very interesting. Timmy, do you have we've had a lot of discourse and a lot of conversation. Do you have more things to think about than when you came in?
I think so.
Okay, good, because that's my goal. I want you to leave with more.
I think so.
Than what you expected. Yeah. Buy me a bar of chocolate and I'm yours, spirit. Here, wait a minute. Buy Chris a bar of chocolate and he's yours, spirit. And it doesn't have to be a big bar of chocolate. It just has to be good chocolate.
I have almonds. No chocolate.
Yeah.
So, Tim, what's your takeaway?
Well, it seems that everybody is intrigued and at least interested in this concept, and I have not finalized it yet. I don't think anything ever really gets finalized. You just keep adding to it, and if it works for you, it works. And I have changed the way I do card draws because of this. If you recall, I would do the duality at the top. I'd have the Fool card and the World card bookending the duality in question. And then in the middle row, I do the Court card draw, the archetype of manifestation. And then the number draw, I do differently now. I was doing 4 cards. Now I do 5.
Really?
I do the first card in the middle, which is now, which is the present. And then I do 2 cards to the left, which is the past. And then I do 2 cards to the right, which is the future. Because the number cards are the archetypes of circumstance. And I wasn't feeling a focused feeling there either with those 4 cards. I think it needs that 5th card in the middle as the balance, the axle sort of, that nails it in time. And then it's easier to interpret the cards to the left, which are past, and the number cards to the right, which are future, and then the card in the middle, which is now. I think it works better.
I think that's very wise to do because it's really important. A tarot reading or a reading of any kind is a snapshot of the energy around what's going on right now.
Yeah,
it changes and Deb, Purple Elephant, Deb H, Angela, Cartomancy Mesquite, and we've talked about this. Simply by asking the question, you've already started to shift the energy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That card draw shows intention. And if the intention is unfocused, then you get unfocused answers. But I think now my intention is the now card goes in the middle. 2 cards to the left are the past cards, and then the 2 cards to the right are the future cards. And then that's a solid stated intention, very clear. And then when you interpret the cards, I think you get solid, clear answers back. That's manifestation of reality, I think, you know.
I think that the reading itself is kind of a Schrodinger thing, you know, that the observation of the energy changes the energy, and by shifting the way that you're laying the cards out, the way that you're doing the reading, that's going to either crystallize the energy around your topic, or it's going to give you these wonky, sort of indefinite, foggy kinds of answers.
Well, and somebody had used the terminology of, it's like being in the center of a seesaw.
Yeah.
That's where we oftentimes want to be. That's where duality is in action.
Yeah.
That's where life is easy. That's the prosperous, happy path.
Yeah.
It's the path
I would also say, I don't want life to stop moving. I want to be able to regain the balance as necessary and naturally.
So stay nimble.
Yeah, stay nimble. Because when it stops moving, that's a problem. And by the way, there you go. I had to do that. I was trying to get doing that for Chris.
I need a sign with a number on it. I give that an 8.5. I would have gave you a 9 if the
Russian judge hands in a 4.
Damn Russian. Screwing us up.
My gosh. So, and the sweet spot.
Yeah, when you hit that baseball, you know when you hit the sweet spot. It's like that.
Yes.
Out of the stadium.
Now I understand why some of my readings have been wonky. Thank you, Timy. You just cleared up one of my tarot issues.
Oh, what did I say? What part?
I'll have to write that down.
I gotta make a side note. But I think the important thing is Timy, you've helped someone.
I feel good then.
Yeah.
Helping others to help myself. That's a philosophy.
Well, that's how it always happens, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Might we be interested in doing a part 2 of the Tree of Life?
Yeah, there's a lot more, because the dualities just keep on coming, folks. Like relationships on the tree is balanced out by assertiveness.
Yeah.
And there's a discussion to be made there. And there's a duality between motivation and decision making. And there's also a duality between humility and insight. We can talk about that.
Oh, yeah. And last time when the three of us were together, I said, let's start at the 10 and go down to 1, because we spent more time talking about 1 and 2. Well, guess what? We can deep dive all of these. However, I think I want to stay balanced between the lower primal and the upper primal urges or dualities. Urges. I mentioned the word urges. Sorry. Because part of it is couldn't there be a mirroring between the primal 1 and primal 2 and the primal 10 and the primal 9? Maybe there's some duality in the pairings, perhaps.
I thought we knew that. I thought it was obvious. Sorry. To me, it was clear that there was mirroring left and right, and also up and down. Like, to me, it was like a flower unfolded.
I love that.
Yeah.
Chris said, that's the Wheel of Fortune. It's not about getting to the top. It's about getting to the middle when you're not thrown about by the chaos of life.
Yes.
That's a good way of looking at it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Eva wants to hear more.
All right.
Definitely interested in a part 2. The middle does spin faster, but you're not discombobulated as much.
Yeah.
Because you're not woo.
You're not going up and down as well as spinning around and around.
Yes.
Yeah, and if you're nimble, if you feel like going for a ride, then just crawl up to the outside and then get sick, ride the wheel. And then you go back in spindle in the middle and take a break.
There you go. Oh my gosh.
Is there anything to the thought? Like, now I'm curious about the origins of the Marseille deck. It is not coincidence that it maps so exactly to the tree of life. I don't
think
believe
so.
it's coincidence. So, do we know anything about the origins of the Marseille deck that would account for that? Like who
I
was?
don't, but I would say there are a lot of that feels like a topic that has that's been around for a while. There's
Yeah, I mean, somebody
there are
should.
multiple documentaries that talk about that. It was the Doge of Venice. What was his name? Somebody the Great, Lorenzo the Great, and Fusilio Pigiacli. The Doge of Venice in the late 1400s had a group of artists and intellectuals and various people that were translating Greek philosophy, like Plato, into Latin
Documents, yeah.
for Lorenzo, because this was information that was not generally known at that point, because it had been obscured because of the Middle Ages and all of the things that fell apart during that time. So I think that as they were translating Plato and recovering all of this ancient philosophy going all the way back to Egyptian times, they created this tarot deck, this Marseilles Tarot deck. And I think the obvious use of the cards is as a card deck to play cards, and gamble and things like that. But,
right.
People like Lorenzo the Great probably used those cards as like a textbook. You can teach your people concepts with cards. The printing press had just been invented, and it was expensive to create a book, but you could do cards and you can use it in a class, like one stack of cards for the whole class and say this, that, and the other. Yeah. And I think that's how it started. And I think these dualities were information that benefited rich people, and powerful people, and they kept it to themselves.
Yes.
It was for their children,
Chris of Elemental Cartomancy said, I think Tarot de Marseille started as playing cards before it was esoteric. I believe
it was a trivial activity for monarchs. They would hire artists to, paint elaborate playing cards, and they play card games with it, but the artists had to be inspired by something, so they were using human philosophy.
Chris, what's the gentleman's name? Vincent had a YouTube channel recently, passed away earlier this year. Great reader, read Marseille, really, really insightful. So there's that stuff out there. So Vincent, there you go. Thank you. Yeah, that's somebody to look at. Okay. And I actually have a couple of his books, which are insightful. So, all right, we are over an hour, and I do want to be respectful of everyone's time. Linda's got a show tomorrow.
Cool.
I've got a couple of shows tomorrow. I've got one on Friday. I've got one on Sunday. Maybe one on some other time. Who knows? Square. Yes. Basically, please like and subscribe. And I want to thank you for joining Laugh and Learn. A big thanks to Timy and Linda for today's generous exploration of topics inspired by Timy's exploration of the Tree of Life. Please leave a comment in the after the show. Tell us what inspired you the most. And until next time, I would say stay curious, keep learning, and may your practice meet you exactly where you are.
Ooh, I like that.
One.
Thank you.
See you later.